Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to people watching abroad in Germany, in the UK, in Ireland, anywhere. Thank you so very much, India. Thank you so very much for watching. Italy, Nepal. There's a whole bunch of places people watch, and I'm very, very grateful. And we have a lot to talk about. Trump can declassify a lot. And what he can do is simply bring down the House by declassifying information that should have already been declassified. So he had 2 years of Mueller probe insanity, and he's still going through it. And he has all the evidence to exonerate him. He has all there's really, they have nothing on him. And he has all the information to show that what they did was simply fabricate everything in order to hurt, in order to hurt Trump and his associates. But I'll read you. Questions grow after FBI vetting of Christopher Steele's Russia expertise. Look, it's now pretty much absurd. The whole thing, the entire sordid mess was a setup. It was a setup. And by the way, I have a great website coming out, and it's going to real time basically count how long it's going to start I'm not going to get into the specifics because you'll love it. You will love it. But it's going to highlight the fact that Democrats were never serious about Medicare for all or a $15 minimum wage or abolishing ICE. They use those lofty ideals to get people to vote. That's it. And to drum up a lot of drama and passions and media play. That's all they do. They utilize the media, and they have this public relations machine. And the public relations machine is simply, we're going to do this, this, and that. Now, I actually thought that Bernie Sanders was serious about implementing a lot of these things when I was a Bernie Sanders supporter. Then actually, I did research on how a lot of them are not only counterproductive, but impossible to achieve. So Democrats are in a very difficult position. They have convinced their voters that they will, for example, implement Medicare for all. And they're also in a position where if they do implement, or if they do push a Medicare for all bill, they're going to have to explain the tax increases. So they don't want to do that. They want to keep it as, well, let's just drum up enough enthusiasm for, regarding the hope that one day we can implement these policies, even though we have the power structure within the Democratic Party has absolutely no motivation or inclination to actually go and push for these policies and push a bill through the House that they control. What do I think about Assange? I think that he's a hero, and I think Julian Assange should be free. I don't think that he would never get a fair trial. So with all due respect to people who believe that that it's actually a good thing that he can come here and he'll tell the truth, and the judge will say, "Oh my goodness, you're telling the truth," and then everything will work as some kind of preordained or predetermined plan. I think that's not realistic. If he comes to the United States of America, they're going to say, "Hey, he broke laws," and they're going to say, that you broke these laws, and we don't care what you say in terms of truth. The fact that you publish, classified data or whatever, they're not going to focus on the overall on the truth that he exposes, because they're going to focus, the judges are going to focus only on the legal statutes that they claim he broke. So let's read this right here. So I think that I'm hoping that he wins his freedom in the UK, and I think he will. I think he will. I think there's a good chance that he will win his freedom in the UK, because the UK can't go against its own edicts, its own rulings. It has already ruled that Julian Assange is a media organization, WikiLeaks is a media organization, and WikiLeaks emails are admissible in court. So, and they're probably more likely, hopefully, to abide by UN resolutions, which always side with Julian Assange. But let's continue here. This is an article today. Questions grow about FBI vetting of Christopher Steele's Russia expertise. In February 2016, as Christopher Steele's Russia-related contacts with the Department of Justice and FBI were ramping up, the former British spy emailed some intelligence reports from his Orbis security company to a potential private sector client. The documents were labeled Orbis Russian Leadership Reporting, and the cover email made a most provocative claim. Russian leader Vladimir Putin might be losing his grip on power. I also don't believe any Russian client or associate will admit to a Western business contact that Putin has been weakened. Okay, Steele cautioned the recipient. As for the nature of the report, Steele boasted in his February 8, 2016 email, all are sensitive sources, of course, and need handling accordingly with anyone, Russian or Ukrainian. It's unclear whether Steele also shared those same reports with his handlers at the DOJ. But more than 2.5 years later, Steele's intelligence seems debunked in retrospect. So the guy, what he did was he set up a consulting firm, and he just played everyone. And it's not even all they did was Hillary Clinton looked at her Rolodex and said, hey, who do I need to call? And somebody said, yeah, call this guy Christopher Steele. He'll write you a dossier. Actually, he'll write you a bunch of letters, a bunch of memos full of nonsense. You can call it a dossier and have half of America mesmerized by it. So she did. Meanwhile, everyone's calling Trump a supremacist, enabler, whatever, and he's not. And so they're deceived that way. They were deceived during the Democratic primary. The Democrats were like, oh, only Clinton. And I was like, look, you know what? Clinton's going to lose. I said that all throughout 2015, 2016. She lost. Then it was Russia's fault. Now it's, abolish ICE, Medicare for all. That's not going to happen. In a way, the best thing to happen to Trump is a Democratic House. It really is the best thing to happen. But all of this is the most amateurish. It's just so ridiculous how people would believe this nonsense. How people would believe this nonsense is it's unbelievable. So let's continue. Putin is firmly entrenched in power, and in the summer and fall of 2016, he pulled off one of his most daring feats against the Western world with his meddling in the U.S. presidential election. So even this meddling, how do we know? I mean, this is John Solomon, who is great, but how? I don't even John Solomon. How do we know he meddled to the extent where we can even call it meddling? Facebook ads. There were other countries who meddled, number one. Number two, Facebook ads in the U.S., how many votes were altered? When James Comey wrote the Comey letter, he swung the election towards Trump. It wasn't the email. It wasn't the DNC or Podesta emails. It wasn't the DNC or Podesta emails. Here, let me read you an example of an email where I can do that later. But they went after Bernie's religion. So Christopher Steele was playing everyone. And it really doesn't matter because he didn't need to have expertise. They didn't need to they didn't need to find someone with expertise. They didn't need to find someone who knew what he was talking about. All they needed to find was a former FBI or former MI6 official with that had worked spying on Russia for MI6. And then they could market that as, oh wow, this dossier is intelligence. So he was playing his clients in addition to the FBI. The CIA declared on February 9, 2016, just a day after Steele sent the email, that Putin appeared emboldened for, quote, a more assertive foreign policy approach. Still no evidence that Putin worked with WikiLeaks. Zero evidence. I read the indictment today of the Russian intelligence officers who are said to have conspired to hack the DNC. No mention of WikiLeaks. No mention of Carter Page or anybody else. And a Western disinformation campaign. A disinformation campaign. Really? There was enough hatred and dislike and contempt for Hillary Clinton. You didn't need any disinformation. The public record was enough. President Vladimir Putin has sustained his popular approval at or near record highs. So 2 years after illegally annexing Crimea, the CIA reported saying that he expected protests in 2016 over a weakening Russian economy would likely be put down with repressive tactics. Steele's correspondence with the FBI associate is the latest piece of evidence suggesting the former British spy may not have been as well-versed or sourced in Russian intelligence as he was portrayed when the FBI used his now infamous anti-Trump dossier to support a request for a Fisa warrant against Trump campaign advisor Carter Page. Well, of course not. He played everyone. Democrats and liberals willingly play themselves. They played themselves into thinking that Hillary Clinton could win. They deceived themselves into thinking that Bernie Sanders could change the Democratic Party after he's blamed for losing. After Russia apparently hacked the DNC to inform everyone that he was cheated. Now they're playing everyone with the Mueller probe. They willingly deceive themselves, and then they go on to the next conspiracy theory and then calling everyone that phrase who don't agree with them. Or who doesn't agree with them. Both the DOJ's Inspector General and multiple committees in Congress are investigating whether the FBI properly handled the Trump-Russia collusion case. The Inspector General is going to always, the DOJ Inspector General is always going to have the most benign assessment. Well, there wasn't prosecutorial bias, even though everything in the IG report showed that there was tremendous bias. Tremendous bias. And then they get, Comey was insubordinate. And there could be a situation where it is possible that Peter Strzok was actually biased. But this is interesting. This is John Solomon. My sources tell me FBI counterintelligence analyst John Moffa recently told Congress investigators congressional investigators in a transcribed interview that the Bureau was still trying to verify the Steele dossier when it was submitted as evidence of the FISA warrant. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So it was never vetted, yet it was used. Could you imagine if the tables were turned? Could you imagine if the tables were turned? Must be nice to be in President Obama's administration. Must be nice. So all of this is, this is the thing. The longer he waits, It takes 2 years to wrestle control. Fine. He's waited 2 years. He's waited 2 years, and he now has control of the government. He has his DOJ. He finally has an attorney general. He finally has an attorney general. And this is like, a bad breakup that nobody wants to deal with, so they stay in the relationship. Trump needs to simply act. He has his attorney general. Start a special counsel, okay? Begin a special counsel. What's his name? Rod Rosenstein didn't ask anyone. He just started his own special counsel into Russian interference, which wasn't. Where are the Facebook ads, by the way? How come we don't know any? Where are these Facebook ads? Where are the Facebook ads that supposedly or that allegedly altered people's views? You can't find them. You can't find them. They don't exist. And people and they say, well, Russia interfered in the election. Russia interfered in the election. They don't explain how. They just assume you believe it. Just like with Clinton winning, they just assume it's going to happen. Then when it doesn't happen, well, then you know. But let's continue. Even Steele's former boss, Fusion GPS founder Glenn Simpson, expressed uncertainty about some of the Russia intelligence. Steele was right. None of it was intelligence. And what makes Steele's February 2016 email to his business associate all the more significant? After all, helping the FBI crack a sports corruption case, as Steele did earlier in his relationship with the Bureau, is a far cry from the skills and sourcing needed to unmask the true intentions of a sophisticated Russian counterintelligence operation. It's not as sophisticated. Even John Solomon, I love John Solomon. He's amazing. There's nothing sophisticated about this. You're talking about Facebook ads, Twitter bots, and the belief that Russia worked with WikiLeaks. There's nobody, not in any indictment, not in any intelligence briefing or intelligence report, is there a statement where Russia worked with WikiLeaks? That nobody has any information on WikiLeaks. Nobody has any information on how WikiLeaks obtained the DNC emails. And we're still talking about this 2 years into it. He needs to act. Indict Clinton, get the DOJ to indict Clinton because the evidence is there. Then you can have pandemonium. But if you have pandemonium that moves Democrats away from any legislative agenda, it moves them even further away from Medicare for all, which is they're not even serious about, but they've used to deceive their voters. Not going to push a Medicare for all bill. It's not even feasible from an economic sense. They know this. The people in power know this. That's why even Andrew Gillum was like, yeah, we can't do this in Florida. We would need a whole bunch of states. And that's why the Mercatus study says you'd have to double or triple tax collection. That's why the Urban Institute study also says a similar thing regarding how much it'll cost. VintageIC.com. Thank you. You remember that. So even this article is like written from the perspective, it's a great article, and John Solomon's amazing. He's done amazing work, but it's written from the perspective that Russia actually did interfere in the election, and we're just trying to find out. This was a criminal endeavor on the part of James Comey. It was a criminal endeavor. James Comey, Peter Strzok, Andrew McCabe, and Trump has to fight back. It was an absolute criminal endeavor, and we're still finding out about it right now. So let's look at this. Republicans want Trump to declassify a new batch of FBI documents. Republicans for months have pressed the Justice Department to turn over classified emails that show that the FBI withheld evidence from federal courts that authorized surveillance warrants against former Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee said Sunday. So it's going to be Adam Schiff. And the Senate Judiciary Committee or the Senate Intelligence Committee, or the Senate, let's say, because the Republicans control the Senate, they're going to have to take up the investigations into all of this. And Lindsey Graham has already stated he's willing to start a new investigation. Big Chris, even if Russia did it all, then what the Russians did was expose DNC. Absolutely. I actually wrote an article on that. I hope they do it to the Republicans if they're corrupt. Exactly. Corruption bad. Exactly. Big Chris, you and I and other people, what do we care? We want the truth. Even though we like Trump, we want the truth. The truth is the most important thing to us. That's the difference between you and I and me and other people who are voting for Trump. We care about. They just don't want their. Their dirty laundry aired. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, check out, if you look right here, if you're probably subscribed already, but if you aren't, hit subscribe. There's a little subscribe watermark right there. If you click over it, yeah. If you click over it, you can actually see it says 130,000 subs. So I really, the technology, Foxhound, yes. So the technology is just unbelievable here. But yeah, Big Chris, I agree with you. What does it matter? It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. We just want the truth. We just want the truth. For months, we have been reviewing. Oh, and then you had, they were like, well, we're waiting on documents. Then what's his name? Rod Rosenstein. Then Rod Rosenstein is just, first of all, he has no business being there. He should resign, but I don't know what his deal is. I guess he's younger than Sessions. He's never going to have a moment's peace in the Trump White House. So, and he can't sabotage Trump anymore because you have Matthew Whitaker. So it's a situation where, and he just was outed as trying to secretly record President Trump. So I really think that the beginning of the year, something enormous is going to take place. It has to, because Trump cannot let this happen. I do believe, and I am 100% confident that Hillary Clinton will get indicted. You just can't indict. You just can't get away with all of these criminals, this criminal activity. You can't get away with this criminal activity. You can't get away with this criminal activity forever. I mean, this is like a number that she pulled on the country. I think something has to take place because you've had 2 years of, and this is how they won the House. I didn't think that people were that stupid, but they are. This is how they won the House. They kept saying, Trump worked with Russia. Trump is this madman. It's a great economy. There are other successes. There are other achievements that have taken place, but you need to FISA declassification, by the way, is not enough. You could present You could present Democrats with a recording of Hillary Clinton saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, I fabricated everything, and I purchased everything. Yet Trump never worked with Russia," and they would say, "Oh, that's no problem. That's no problem at all." Well, she thought it. She had a hunch, and then they would move on. They do see what Trump has been doing lately, and I think that he's been getting bad advice. I really do. But what Trump's been doing is I guess he had to play ball because he got Gorsuch and then he got Kavanaugh and he got the federal judges. So he's had to play ball. So in that sense, it's good. But he's allowed lives to be ruined. You know, Paul Manafort's major crime was buying a $15,000 ostrich feather jacket. It wasn't conspiring with Russia. RCJ! Trace said Schiff tried to cover up Fisa stuff. They all did. They all did. All the Democrats did. Trey Gowdy knows also. Melvin, hello. Trey Gowdy knows also. They all know. They all know. They all know. So my thing is President Trump needs to act. He can't mess around anymore. And Brian Williams, MSNBC, do you believe we'll ever see Julian Assange on American soil say nothing of inside American courtroom? Former Senator John Brennan, yes. John Brennan committed crimes. First of all, he lied under oath. John Brennan lied under oath. Okay. Secondly, he met with, and so this was regarding spying on Obama's Senate. They're so worried about the truth. They're so worried about the truth. Scott Bigler. Countdown is on until HSC must submit answers under oath in the Judicial Watch FOIA suit. Maybe we'll get the answer to how unintentional it was to transfer top secret info on her private server. Scott Bigler. Exactly. Exactly. That's the truth. That's the truth. I'm going to do the Brennan's voice in a second. I'm going to do John Brennan. John O'Brennan. I believe with all of my heart that we have so many people who don't like the United States government, and only I can protect you. John Brennan. Sally Yates. Our love knows no bounds. What do you mean you're busy? I'll call you back. Okay, bye. Scott Bigler, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. Judicial Watch is, I mean, you're talking about patriots. I mean, these people are exactly, okay, Kenward, Haiti, uranium one, weapons deals, everything. I mean, it's unbelievable the level of brainwashing. They believe anything. They don't care. Like when presented with facts and reality, Scott and everyone, they don't care. They don't care. It's not like there's no way to, like, at this point right now, there's no way to win an argument with somebody on the left because they're so stuck in their own world. That's how they won the House. And they're so stuck in their own world. In the 2016 election, President Trump, and like I said, Clinton would lose to Trump. People still had common sense. That's why Trump won. Because the alternative was like, the spawn of Satan. But they're not living in the real world. They're living in their own fantasy world where Obama wasn't all the horrible things they claim Trump to be. Obama was pure and wonderful. And Clinton, sure, she made mistakes, but it's not that big of a deal. Exactly, Scott. Thank you. She transferred top secret intelligence onto a server outside the United States government. And it's just now they're going after Assange. And you have these people in positions of power. You have somebody like John Brennan who was part of an apparatus. All of these people, part of an apparatus. They're part of an apparatus. And that's why I say it's not good. You don't want. Oh my, this is insane. Ivanka Trump facing questions for use of private email account. Do you see what they're doing? It's like this is the Jerusalem Post. I was just recently published in the Jerusalem Post and also the Times of Israel. In September, official says that, but it's like private email. Private email is different from a server. The whole thing was about. The whole thing was about a server. The whole thing was about a server. That's the whole thing was about a server. So, it'll never end. Trump needs to. It was about a server and transferring top secret intelligence. Here we go. NBC News. It's craziness. Oh, this is breaking. Restraining order filed against Avenatti. Wow. Scott Bigler, thank you. Assange works for freedom. Hillary works for. Yep. Craziness. It is craziness. What's happening with our friend, the wonderful. So. And that's the thing. It's like nothing. There's no. There's just no. There's no shame. There's like no shame at all. Actress files restraining order. Wow. And here's a guy. I mean, well, I'll say this: the whole world he knew, the entire world he knew, was watching him. So that says something. That says something. Let's see what else is going on. Thanksgiving this week. Everyone have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Chinese company reportedly hacked Clinton's server. Exactly. So Clinton's server was actually hacked. And meanwhile, and then she had her maid print out information. Chinese company reportedly hacked Clinton's server, got copy of every email in real time. This is Fox News. We already know this from Louis Gohmert. We know this from Louis Gohmert, and we know this from Charles McAuliffe, the IG, the Inspector General. What Trump needs to do is, I keep on thinking that Trump is trying to trying to save, um, trying to help the intelligence community save face. In the name of liberty, God bless you. Have a great, great, great Thanksgiving. Because Clinton made such a mockery. Clinton made such a mockery of the intelligence community that they just don't. If he were to with like disclose, if he were to disclose everything, it would just be like the end of any faith in the intelligence quote unquote community. But Trump has to play hardball now. It's really like in the beginning of next year. We're a couple months away from 2019. He has to act. A Chinese state-owned company reportedly hacked former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's email server, then inserted code that forwarded them a copy of virtually every email she sent or received after. A revelation President Trump is demanding to be investigated. Wow. So you have a Chinese company that hacked her entire server. Papa D, time to get repetitious. The cardinal sin was the server, opening government traffic flow to analysts. Gift that keeps on giving. Classified data was just icing. Papa D, you brought up that point. You're 100% right. You're awesome. Something that I actually wasn't really looking at all. And Papa D, thank you. There are so many ways Clinton hurt this country. It's unbelievable. Papa D, thank you so very much, as always, for your support and always for watching. Thank you. Have a happy Thanksgiving, Papa D. Tree climbing, you too. Happy Thanksgiving. Tree climbing, all of our anger and frustration should be at the Republicans for not doing what Trump wanted for 2 years. That's true. That's true. They prevented Trump. Well, Democrats prevented Trump from from doing anything. Well, not from doing anything, but they prevented Trump from implementing what he wanted to implement, in large part because of the whole Mueller probe. So he couldn't play hardball. He couldn't play hardball. I agree with you. Tree climbing, thank you. Papa D, thank you. I just, if Al Capone and if Richard Nixon weren't above the law, I don't think that. Zero evidence about Trump Russia. The irony there. Where's the evidence of Trump Russia? That's what I want to know. Where's the evidence aside from statements made? There's zero evidence, and she had an unencrypted server, number one. You do not need evidence of a hack when you have top secret intelligence on a server that was once unencrypted. You need to assume it was just hacked by the world. That's like basic logic. Basic logic. And also, the Inspector General did provide evidence. The Inspector General, Charles McAuliffe, inspected the servers. So here, let's go ahead. The Chinese firm obtained Clinton emails in real time as she sent and received communication as a daily caller and documents to her personal server. That's obvious. Why wouldn't they? What's his name? Hayden. Michael Hayden said he would lose respect for intelligence agencies if they didn't hack her server. I mean, if they didn't hack her server, why wouldn't people, the entire planet, hack her server? She had top secret special access program intelligence. Why wouldn't they hack her server? So then they're going after. See, that's the thing. It never ends. Trump needs to. All this stupid propaganda. It never ends. It never, ever ends. This is a statement to NBC News from Ivanka Trump's spokesperson to address misinformation being peddled about Miss Trump's personal email. She did not create a private server in a house or office. There was never classified information transmitted. The account was never transferred or housed the Trump organization. No emails were ever deleted, and these emails have been retained in the official account in conformity with records preservation laws and rules. Look, it could be the last 2 years was just preventing the inevitable, Clinton getting indicted, which I've been saying since 2015, actually. I've been writing about this since 2015. So it's just unbelievable. Aussie J. I want my fellow Aussie free. It grinds my ears. You know what? God bless you, Aussie J. I want Julian Assange free. But Trump has to do the right thing. He has to do so, if not sooner than the beginning of the year. It's like you got to understand, for a long time, then inserted a code that forwarded them a copy of virtually every email she sent or received after that, including top secret emails. Big Chris, the DNC was corrupt back in 2016. The DNC is still corrupt today. It's horrifying that Democratic voters don't seem to care. They should demand reform. But Big Chris, they don't. See, this is the thing. Big Chris, you're 100% right, but they don't care. What they want is power. And they want to feel good. And they want to feel, the left is all about feeling morally superior. So if they can feel morally superior, that's why they get into arguments. That's why, when I was on the left, I used to get into an argument with everybody every 2 seconds, because they'd be like, "You're not morally superior to me. I'm morally superior to you." And it's all about, oh, we're fighting the system. We're fighting for the little guy. We're moral. The Republicans and Trump are immoral. We're on the side of justice. So they have this justice fetish, this morality fetish. Like, we're so moral. Meanwhile, what they do is they act immoral. They allow immoral acts or unethical, illegal acts to take place. Buster Pig 21, thank you, Big Chris. I agree. What do you think is going to happen with Assange? Do you think prosecution, extradition could jeopardize his 20 presidential? Absolutely, Buster Pig 21. If Assange is extradited to the United States of America, I don't see how I can vote for Trump. So, and if Assange is extradited and Clinton is not indicted, I mean, my God, I there's no way I could vote for Trump. But forget about me. I think that people will see right now. Everyone thinks that he worked with Russia and that he's the second coming of Mussolini. The media has been very successful in brainwashing people. I didn't think the media was going to be as successful as it was. In 2016, 2015, when I said Clinton would lose to Trump, I could see through the nonsense. And even with the intense barrage, media barrage, I could see. I could see what was taking place, and I knew Clinton would lose. But he was elected to drain the swamp or to shatter a very corrupt system. If he doesn't do so, I think that he's gonna, because he's not a president that could just rest upon economic achievements. That doesn't work. He's not a president that can rest upon diplomatic achievements. That doesn't work either. The media will never trumpet or champion any of his accomplishments. So he can't rest upon those things. He has to shake up the system. So, and all of this talk about Julian Assange is mainly to divert attention away from Clinton. The Fisa, the Trump Russia, Mueller, all of it is to divert attention away. Christian O'Brien, evidence of a hack. HA, that's funny. So many hacks, they're everywhere. Christian O'Brien, thank you. Christian O'Brien, thank you so very much. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Christian. Yeah, I mean, China gets a copy of every single email she had in real time. Every single email, classified and special access program and top secret. Every single email. Every single email. Every single email. The Intelligence Community Inspector General, IG, found that virtually all emails were sent to a foreign entity. Representative Louis Gohmert, a Texas Republican, said July House. Virtually all emails were sent to a foreign entity. All of her emails were sent to a foreign entity. So it's like, at the end of the day, all of this leads to Clinton, but why would a country release Clinton's top secret emails to then get sanctioned by America? Why would China, already in a tariff war with the United States of America, say, oh, by the way, we have all your top secret emails? That's not how espionage works. If you have one up on somebody, you keep it quiet. You don't say, oh, but thank you, dear Hillary Clinton. Thank you so much for your treasure trove of information. That's so kind of you. The whole thing with the DNC, look, WikiLeaks published emails, different from spies infiltrating Clinton's top secret, Clinton's server in her basement. We do the same thing. We try to hack their public officials. They hack our public, but with Clinton, it was like, here you go. Here's everything. Here's everything, including information on the military, including everything. So why would any country want to experience retaliation from the U.S.? Why would any country's intelligence agencies gloat? They're supposed to, rest within the shadows and hide within the darkness. You're supposed to engage in espionage in a clandestine manner. Obviously, you're not going to dance in the end zone. Yes. Yeah, again, her campaign emails showed that she was cheating Bernie Sanders. Big difference. Not odd at all. It was corrupt from the start. And WikiLeaks is known to publish the information of whistleblowers, not countries, whistleblowers. 0% of 1 million HSC servers. Exactly. Again, why would they be released? That doesn't make any sense at all. That's like saying a country is not going to release the top secret intelligence that it hacks from another country, because then it discloses how it infiltrated the other country's servers. Then it lends itself to retaliation. Then its intelligence agency, meant to be surreptitious and clandestine, is now out in the open, up for scrutiny. I mean, why would a country do that? That's like saying, oh, by the way, here's a double agent. We have this double agent. So you think that he's spying on us, but he's really spying on you. Want to let you know his name? Here's where he lives. Friends? No. Doesn't make sense. Jennifer Hemer, Julian Assange attorney will demand discovery, which will. But Jennifer Hemer, that's true. You're right. They'll demand discovery. But when was the last time liberals or Democrats or the media or the justice system looked at evidence and said, you're right. We've been wrong all this time. Jennifer, you and I like to appeal to reason. There are people who want to appeal to reason and common sense. There are people who want to appeal to reason and common sense. For example, Jennifer and everyone here, if we were to debate somebody on the left, President Obama, he knew of Clinton's server and it's in the WikiLeaks emails or whatever. We can President Obama helped destroy Libya with his flawed NATO intervention. That's not even a debate, because he even said that on Fox. It would fly over the head of anyone listening. They don't care. So, Jennifer Hemer, thank you so very, very much, as always, for watching. Thank you. And I agree with you, discovery, and I agree with you that Julian Assange, I'm sure has, I'm hoping has evidence, or he has his, he knows what's going on. But again, even if he were to disclose all that information, we're relying on the left to, we're relying on the left to acknowledge sanity, reason. And I just, I don't see that. I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be very difficult. I mean, if Assange is brought to the United States of America just because he publishes information given to him by whistleblowers, then everyone's next. And Brennan and Clapper actually lied under oath. They lied under oath, both of them. And it's not even a question as to whether they lied under oath. They did lie under oath. So, I mean, hopefully Trump is known as a counterpuncher. So, Patriot 95, God bless you. The NSA is moderately confident of the DNC hack. It is. It's moderately confident. It's the CIA is highly confident. I'm confident that I'm really Superman or one of these superheroes. I'm not certain, though. I'm confident. So 2019 should be interesting, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. I'm hopeful. I think that Trump is the type of guy, if you try to cross him, he will never, ever forget. If you look if you look at the Al Smith dinner, thank you, Kay Kenward. Thank you, Kay. If you look at the Al Smith dinner, it's a dinner in New York where Trump and Clinton and every wealthy, powerful person in New York, from Bloomberg, everyone, they, wealthy, elite, they were all there. Christian O'Brien, not to change. So I'm wondering if the Jeff Sessions phone call voice is Trumpy. Okay, before we wrap it up, we got to do a Sessions. Hi there, Mr. President. Did I call you too late? I'm just wondering how you like Matthew Whitaker. Oh, yeah, he's full of muscles. He's muscle bound. He's strong, athletic. Not like me. I hope you like the strong and muscular type. And I just want to let you know you'll never have Jeff Sessions to push around anymore. Who's going to bring you flowers anymore? Christian O'Brien, thank you. Oh, I didn't read your Christian O'Brien. Yeah, oh yeah, Christian O'Brien, thank you. Thank you, Christian. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless. Thank you so very much. To my super chat, thank you. I will see you all tomorrow. You are all wonderful. And I might do a session later on, or just tomorrow morning. Thank you so very, very much. God bless. See you soon. Thank you.